Today, we're diving into the concept of a strategic Bitcoin reserve and why, for several distinct, but related reasons, it might not be such a wise investment for companies and institutions to delve into. First, let's recognize the extreme volatility of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's price can take wild and often unexpected swings due to demand-supply dynamics, regulatory shifts, macroeconomic news, or even social media trends. If you're stashing away billions in Bitcoins, even minor fluctuations can significantly alter your investment's value, a level of risk that traditional stores of value like gold or fiat currency seldom present. Bringing us to the second point: lack of liquidity. Suppose an entity wants to liquidate a substantial Bitcoin store all at once. Doing so can negatively impact market demand and lead to a substantial drop in Bitcoin's valuation, a problem that large institutions like hedge funds and corporations need to factor for. Adding on to this, regulatory uncertainty makes it an uphill task to blend cryptocurrencies into established financial systems. The lack of a clear international framework and varying government stances on cryptos can subject your Bitcoin reserve to unpredictable policy risks. Requiring a closer look is how mining and safeguarding Bitcoins demand sizable energy means. The environmental and sustainability concerns attached to this call into question the green image of institutions holding these reserves. Taking this into consideration, a tangible case can be made about the potentially debilitating financial and reputational risks associated with holding a large Bitcoin reserve. Such risk considerations would likely discourage most corporations and financial institutions from pursuing this strategy. Is there a way to capture Bitcoin's potential upside without exposing to this level of risk? Some companies, instead of creating a strategic Bitcoin reserve, are turning to the idea of tokenizing the asset to make it more accessible. This approach allows organizations to rationalize benefits of cryptocurrencies without directly accumulating them. Advantages of tokenization include a more straightforward conversion of assets into usable digital formats, enabling the automation of certain business processes, and fostering innovation in new areas that depend on digital asset adoption. This approach, however, challenges institutional leaders to find the right balance given the rapidly evolving regulatory environment. Thus, the trend appears to be shifting towards accepting cryptocurrencies as a payment means or investment opportunities rather than bulking them up in reserve holdings. This change is in line with the growing acceptance of digital and cashless payment systems, adding value to Bitcoin and similar assets from a transactional rather than hoarding lens. Even with these shifts, others argue that Bitcoin itself is still in transition, with the evolution of so-called third-generation cryptocurrencies on the horizon. These potential successors aim to capitalize off the widespread adoption problems of Bitcoin, such as scalability and transaction speed, while leveraging the underlying blockchain technology. Adding on to this, another significant barrier institutions face when considering Bitcoin reserves is the lack of proper custody solutions. Without robust custodial services, organizations can't confidently safeguard their cryptocurrency assets over the long term, an essential requirement for any sizable strategic holding. Lastly, the increasing spotlight on security threats in digital investments creates another risk agencies must account for when planning their digital asset strategies. The need to establish robust security protocols, secure platforms, and defend against potential cyber attacks can entail significant costs and resources, another concern from a practical perspective. So, while Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies undoubtedly present groundbreaking opportunities for institutions, a strategic reserve might not be the best path forward. When we consider Bitcoin's unpredictability, market liquidity constraints, regulatory uncertainty, sustainability implications, and operable hurdles, the potential downsides begin to outweigh the bankable upsides. Looking at this from a practical perspective, institutions must weigh the potential returns of a cryptocurrency investment against the risks and complications of holding a Bitcoin reserve. This calls for a considered, forward-thinking approach that takes all these factors into account. And as the world of digital assets evolves and primitive worries become addressed, we will see a more comprehensive integration and acceptance of cryptocurrencies. Only then will we be able to assess more clearly how institutions can best capitalize on the potential upside of these digital currencies. As we look to the future, progressive attitudes towards cryptocurrencies will continue to shift, along with the technical and lifestyle revolutions that they promise. Digital assets are here to stay, and we are just getting started on understanding and unlocking their immense potential. Amidst these debates and uncertainties, what is required is an approach that encourages innovation but also realism. An approach that acknowledges the potential financial gains of cryptocurrencies but also appreciates the associated risks, a balancing act, surely, but one necessary in the sea of changing financial dynamics. Hence, we need to think about cryptocurrencies and digital assets not as replacements to the traditional financial instruments but as complements instead. We should be optimistic in integrating these new tools and technologies into our financial system, promoting development and preparing better for the needs of the future. On the other hand, the groundbreaking architecture of blockchain technology, which Bitcoin inaugurated, will continue to disrupt and streamline processes across various industries. And in this sense, cryptocurrency's greatest gift to us may not even be as a financial instrument, but as a catalyst for fostering a fundamentally new way of transacting and processing value. As we navigate through these revolutionary changes, it's essential to remain cautious and informed, understanding the complex interplay of factors affecting digital currency's value, as well as their sweeping implications on the financial landscape. So, while the idea of a strategic Bitcoin reserve might not make complete sense today, the world of digital assets is rapidly evolving. With this evolution, it brings new opportunities, present potential risks, and requires a change in perspective for institutions looking to stay ahead in the financial game. As institutions globally navigate these unprecedented waters, the question remains, how comfortable are you betting on Bitcoin? Remember, in finance, the rules can change at the sight of a tweet, a court judgment, or a technological breakthrough. Make no mistake, the rise of digital currencies presages not just the future of money, but the future of institutions and even society itself. The transformation is ongoing, and although uncertainty can lead to fear and reticence, we must also remember that it's out of chaos that progress often emerges. So, here we are teetering on the edge of a new era. Cryptocurrencies promise much and incite passion and fury in equal measure. They are, by nature, disruptive, divisive, and unpredictable. But the history of innovation suggests that the most radical ideas often have the most extraordinary potential for the future. In the meantime, it's never been more essential to screen the evolving landscape. It's a roller coaster ride that will surely continue to fascinate and frustrate, enthrall and perplex. Ultimately, the economic value of digital currencies will be decided by how, when, and if we can harness their transformative potential. Combining skepticism with an open mind, respect for tradition with an eye to the future, we can approach this digital age of finance like a seasoned alchemist, striving to extract pure good out of the complex blend of raw materials that cryptocurrencies offer. In summary, old habits die hard, especially in finance. Nevertheless, when we do eventually kick the habit of trusting in traditional forms of value storage, we may find, contrary to many skeptics, that digital currencies were not the death of money, but rather, one of its greatest rebirths. It's not merely a question of adapting financial institutions to cryptocurrencies but also of building cryptocurrencies that can be adapted to financial institutions. Thus, by continually fostering a forward-thinking approach, financial institutions can learn to swim, not against the tide, but with it. Consequently, it's not blind faith but rather strategic confidence that is leading the shift towards digital assets. By evaluating and incorporating the insights learned from Bitcoin and other disruptive technologies, institutions can gain an evolutionary edge in an era of financial transformation. Ultimately, some institutions are cautiously but resolutely making room for cryptocurrencies, taking incremental steps towards integrating them into their financial strategies, and this, perhaps, is the essence of progress, one foot, or in this case, one Bitcoin, at a time. The saga of digital currencies is still unfolding, a tale of efforts and experiments, of perseverance and progress, of religion and reason, of skepticism and resolve. Their potential remains vast and varied, and it's up to us how we carve its narrative from here. And so, for the moment, the jury's out. Will Bitcoin find a storied place in the reserves of the world's largest corporations and financial institutions? Only time, and the uncertain seas of this economic landscape, shall disclose.